All right, I'm starting the recording. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Neeraj Kumar. I'm lead Azure architect, and I'm also an MCD, Microsoft Certified Trainer. And we have been conducting Azure Talk for a while, and we have taken more than 27 sessions on different topics on Azure Talk. And in past, people provided us feedback that we should also have some session for the beginners, and that's when we decided to, we'll incorporate these sessions as a part of our ongoing regular Azure Talk. In past, we have covered many advanced topics in Azure, including DevOps, which is still going on, but then there was this feedback, and the requirement was there, that we should cover a detail about, for the Azure for the beginners, so that people can pick up the technology, Azure technology. So with that, I'm joined by today by Lalit Rawat, who is Manager IT in Cloud Bajaj FinServ, and he's also, by the way, he's known personality among Microsoft community. He's Azure Master of the Month. Just to give you an idea, what is Azure Master of the Month? Microsoft chooses every month, the most active Azure community members who is, very technically very strong, and willing to share his knowledge and his skills with larger audience and large communities. Microsoft has conferred Lalit as Azure Master of the Month. So he's Master of the Month of the November, and every month you get this award. So, and he has his own blog, which you all can refer. It's very useful. Plus, we also have our Azure DevOps and Azure Talk chat-based instant messenger group. So if any of you have, you can join those groups and post your questions for any kind of, learning that you wish to have. So with that, I will hand over this to Lalit, and Lalit, he will talk about Azure for the beginners. So and this is the session where we'll cover Azure from a beginner's perspective, and also we'll talk about what Azure brings in onto the table and how we can leverage that. Before we get into that, I will also talk about the different services model of Azure and different services model of cloud, and how it works, and how cloud is changing the IT landscape in today's world. So we'll go about all those. And with that, I will hand it over to Lalit. You can go ahead and share your desktop.
Thanks, Neeraj. Thanks for your introduction. And let me just share my screen and set the things.
So I hear a couple of people there saying meeting started. Yes, it started. Harish and Hadi, can you hear us? Well, Ashish says I cannot hear. Let's see. Yeah, Harish can hear. Okay. All right, good. So it's with some other problem. And for record key, for making sure that we have the highest quality of audio and the recording, I've muted all the audience. In case if you have any questions, please feel free to type in the chat, and we will be more than happy to answer those questions. Plus, if you really want to speak up, you can type in the chat, and we'll unmute yourself, and we'll bring in you for your conversation and for your questions. So thank you for and I really apologize for that in advance, but we want to make sure that we have the smooth and best experience. Thank you. Back to you, Lalit.
Thanks, Neeraj. So thanks for joining the sessions, and this is Lalit here. And let me just walk through the agenda. What the agenda we are just going to walk out today is an introduction of Microsoft Azure and Azure fundamental, and the terminology of Azure and Azure Services overview, introduction to Microsoft Azure, and then finally I'll just walk through the demo sessions of portal. What are the services would be there and how it will be. So let's just moved out to what is Azure, what is the Microsoft Azure, which Microsoft, offering to the cloud as a platform of cloud in Azure, and they're providing the software as a defined services. So basically, Microsoft Azure is nothing but it's an open and flexible platform. Suppose if you wanted to get in some server or services within 10 minutes or 15 minutes, like your customer says that you need in some hundreds of hours, or you need in some hundreds of hours within 2 hours or 4 hours. You have that much flexibility whenever you're just going. If you just come from the 100 orders in the normal IT, how it will be trained is like, you need to get in the first, you need to get in the quote from the vendor, and then you analyze, then negotiate, and everything will be goes on. Then once it will go for all the process and approval and everything, and then finally the PO would be raised, and then you have to wait for almost for 6 months. Then it will go, the PO will go to the vendor, and the vendor will start the processing. So it is just going and taking a 6 month. Rather than taking a 6 month, Microsoft is providing you the open and flexible cloud for platform, where whenever you need it, whatever the services you needed, either it could be the software services, or it could be your infrastructure as a services, or anything. Like you need in VM, you just go and create. You need in software, you need in Visual Studio, you need to develop anything, you can just go and do it. So it's completely a flexible platform where you have each and everything to be accessible, and you will be used according to your flexibility. And the second part is you can build, deploy, manage your applications across the global network. Rather than going through the traditional data center way, what Microsoft is did it, like it is just providing you a solutions where you can just go and deploy uh, your services across the globe. If you're sitting in India, if you wanted to deploy in some VMs into the US region, is it possible now? But in the traditional IT, you need to build a data center in US, and then you need to put your man efforts over there. But in the cloud, in the Azure, what Microsoft is providing, okay, this is here, okay, you just deploy from here, and it will deploy to automatically to your US region, or China, or you can say in India, a couple of regions. So it depends whatever the regions are available in the Azure portal. Apart from that, you can build your applications, and you can use any language or the tool or the framework like Visual Studio. You have JSON, PowerShell, you have ARM template, now DSC. So any tools or any applications which you wanted to build, and you wanted to implement those things, so you have this features. So just go and directly create the services, or create the development platform where you wanted to deploy the tool, you wanted to build something, and directly you're going and integrating with the public cloud applications or your existing environment. So basically, integrated in public cloud and the your on-premises IT environment is called as a hybrid cloud connection. So basically, what it does is, suppose you have in VMs running inside the Azure, but as in you don't want to migrate your Active Directory over there. For that, you need inside to side connection. Then you just coexist with your on-premises to Azure. So authentication would be happening from the on-premises, and then you just make a read-only domain controller into the Azure, and then everything is working smoothly. And even though including like the mobile apps, if you wanted to integrate, or the other services which you wanted to integrate. Suppose you are developing some code in the Visual Studio, but the applications you have in Azure, and you wanted to directly deploy it to there, that is all is possible. So this is an integration from public cloud to, you can say, the private infrastructure or the data centers. So Neeraj, you want to add something on that part?
No, so as you said, Microsoft Cloud is open and flexible cloud platform. This goes against, the early notion that Microsoft is a closed platform company, but things are changing. So it's open and flexible, so you can use it for any kind of open source, and they're fully supporting it, and they bring in the support as soon as possible. So keep that in mind. Don't think that it's Microsoft Cloud, so it's closed source. Yep. Thank you.
Next, I'm moving to the next services. Why you are using in cloud computing? What is the necessary in the today's days? So basically, the first which is comes in my mind is you can say as a service delivery. You have a self services like in the traditional IT. You can see that whenever we need a requirement or the servers, the procurement will be happening from 6 months down the line, and then once everything is goes with the PO, with the finance, you'll get all the approval and budgets and everything. You have decided, then only raising the PO with the vendor and waiting for almost those things. Even though for testing purpose, if you need in servers or for developing for 1 year developing testing purpose, or probably for down the line 6 months of developing testing purpose, you need to do all those things so that those efforts has been reduced. Now you can say just you need in server, the server would be ready within 10 minutes. You need in any software that is there in 10-15 minutes hardly. Whatever the times it takes to create the services in Azure, it is only taking that much time, and it is the self services means you just go log into your subscription and create it. You no need to wait for anybody. If the server, even though if the server is coming, the traditional idea, the server is coming to your on premises or in your data center, you have to wait for the Dell or at least HP or whatever the service provider. Okay, you need to wait for those guys to just go and they can come and then put it to a rack and do all the configuration and everything. But here everything is ready made. It just go select the services as per your demand, as per your organization's need. You just go and you just deliver it. So this is comes with the self services. Apart from that, you can electricity and the growth on demand resources. You no need to predict down the line for 4 years or 3 years. On the demand, like suppose you have your customer asks, okay, they need in 200 servers for some data centers or something like that. So what you can do is in the on demand resources, they told, okay, in 2 months they need in some server. I say, okay, fine. You just go ahead and just create those servers in Azure. But the same as in traditional IT, you have to predict that. Okay, what are the new resources are coming? What are the new services are coming? So basically anything which is on demand or which is your organization, let's say someone is starting an organization or the organization's growth is much and they cannot predict, okay, down the line or the financial or any organization, they don't predict, okay, how much hardware they need it for their services to grow, or probably their services only growing only for the seasons, in the sense for New Year's, Diwali, or Christmas, or the festival seasons. They wanted to get those services to be with the good hardware or scalable hardware to the server or the services can understand the traffic and it won't crash. So basically on demand services, like only for 3 months you need to need the services growth and the health to which the traffic will be coming from outside, for like say the Flipkart or Amazon, and they are doing that sale, the yearly sale or something, and giving the discount, the people just go ahead. In a day they are getting lakhs and lakhs of the servers would be crashed. So for scaling purposes, you just go and increase all things. So this is the on-demand resources. You just go and increase and pay as per your these things. And apart from that, you are going and reducing the risk. Basically, it's a consistency. Microsoft is providing you the SLA of 99.9%, and you no need to you no need to maintain your data center. You no need to check the network or capacity and all, each and everything would be provided. So here your server crash risk would be reduced, but not that much as your data center. So apart from that, the last one is a cost reduction. Cost reduction, even Microsoft has initiated the pay-as-you-go model, where you will be charging the services based on your services per second. If you're using for services for 1 hour, it will be charged for 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. So basically you will be saving the cost. If you are a development company or any financial organization or any IT organization, service delivery organization, where you have a cost must, so what you can do is like In many of the organizations, they have services where they will be running. They need it to run for 12 hours, but apart from that, they need to 8 to 6. They have to shut down. Here you can, if you're going in 8 to 6, at least for 12 hours, you are shutting down your VM and going and opening your saving 12 hours cost rather than buying a one server for 4 lakh or 5 lakh, and that what you buy, that is your already the cost. So basically you can do that also. So you will be reducing a much cost rather than to the on premises, and it is an on demand services. And also basically this is the cloud computing model where the effective areas which I just cover. Yes. Apart from that, yes. Apart from that, let's move to the cloud models. What are the cloud models are? So basically the on-premises, and these three models which comes is are known as mostly we all know those platform as a services, infrastructure services, and the software as a services. So what it is in the on-premises, we are going and managing the networking, we are going and managing net storage, servers, virtualization, OS, and middleware, runtime, data, and the applications. So each layer would be managed by our data center guys or our data center team. Like if we have in 300 servers, 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 servers, whatever the big organization they have, to manage those resources, and for each and every data centers, we have to manage for patchings and everything. So what in Azure or any cloud models, what they did it for, they come with the three model, which is infrastructure services, platform as a services, and the software as a services. So what you have to do is, if you're going and deploying in VM, Microsoft will be going and managing the virtualization for you, which is Hyper-V, the servers, the storage, and the network. Whenever you wanted to deploy, or most of us, we have deployed the operating system, then it will ask, okay, which operating system you want. You want in 2012 or 2016 or 2008 R2 or whatever the based on your the middleware, which applications and the software services you wanted to be installed. Runtime, you can decide, okay, you wanted to server that should be run for 12 hours, 24 hours is our testing, okay, for 12 hours. If it is our production, it is running for 24 7 hours. What the data you wanted to keep in that, how you're going to backup, what are the applications you're going to be installed. Each and everything, these things would be managed by us. Okay, so basically these are the things would be managed by us, and the applications, data, runtime, middleware, and everything would be managing by as an IT engineer. And then if you go into the platform as a services, which is coming with the applications and with the data, and rest of the things would be managed by the Microsoft. Your networking, storage, servers, and then virtualization, OS, middleware, and runtime. These all those things would be managed by the Microsoft. And what Microsoft is saying, like if you're going and buying an as platform services, like you need in Visual Studio, and that Visual Studio you need to put your data, the codes and all, and you're going and also how you're going to take the backup. So backup, the configuration, the applications, which whatever the applications you're going and running into this, so that will be managed by you. Apart from that, I'll have a software as a services, and the software as a services, Microsoft is managing completely from your applications, data, runtime, middleware, OS, virtualization, and your hardware, storage, and everything. So it will be managed by the software as a services. And then what would happen? And in that case, the best example would be in Office 365, and so basically they will give you as a product. You don't need to install, you don't need to do or run any prerequisite. Okay, what you have to do is just you need to go and configure according to you, according to you. So basically, just go and configure and everything, the backup and runtime middleware and the patches and everything would be applied by the Microsoft, and Microsoft give you an SLA of 99%. So basically, these are the three models. One is infrastructure services, second one is platform as a services, third one is a software as a services. And those you are going in the on-premises, this is there, and in cloud you'll have another three models. So based on the services, those models has been defined. Let's say the cloud terminology in the what I have explained in very details is in infrastructure services, platform as a service, and the software as a services. So what would be the infrastructure services? A best example would be on-demand service, like you wanted to
Lalit, there
create
is a question about Fabric Controller, where Fabric Controller comes into the picture. So I'll just take that question. So Harish, the Fabric Controller is the component which is behind the cloud. So any cloud, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Google Cloud or Amazon Cloud, they have a Fabric Controller. Now, in case of Azure, it's Azure Service Fabric Controller, which is responsible for provisioning all the resources and in the background. So anything that you provision, VM, network, anything and everything, that request goes to the Service Fabric Controller, and that Service Fabric Controller is eventually going to provision those resources for you. So it's everywhere, including IaaS, PaaS, maybe in SaaS model also. So actually all these services are built on top of Azure Service Fabric. All right, I hope that answers your question. All right, go ahead, Lalit.
Thanks, Neeraj. So then infrastructure services, like you'll have an on-demand servers, like if you wanted to create an VMs, or if you're using an Amazon, then you just go and create an EC2 instance in the VMware cloud. You're going and deploying your virtual machines VM. So basically, the same infrastructure which you will be having in the data center, similarly would be you will be having in the cloud. Apart from that, in the platform as a services, basically the Google App Engine, Salesforce.com, and the Windows Azure. So basically, why Windows Azure? Because Windows Azure is nothing but it's just a platform which is providing you a platform uh, where you just go and deploy your services. So let's say anyone is buying in subscription or a data center, like building a data center, when that data center would be built, it's just a platform where you're just going and keeping your racks, and those racks you're putting your servers and then connecting from the network and deploying the servers and deploying your operating system and everything. Then the process would start. So this is so it's the best example that Windows Azure is a platform as a service, providing you the platform how you're doing into the on-premises in the data centers, then you're deploying an application, then you're deploying an operating system, you're ready, and whatever the infrastructure, the complex, or whatever the infrastructure, the architect you wanted to design, the same way the platform as a server, or and apart from that the Salesforce.com, which is the people is putting the data, or they're utilizing that platform to for the various resources for inventory tracking and all. So then third one would come is an Office 365, Gmail, and Microsoft Web component services. So an Office 365 is not a exchange. Basically, the Office 365 is a collection of the services where on the Office 365 your Exchange Online will come, SharePoint Online will come, and your Dynamics, and then OneDrive for Business. So these are the component which is coming into the Office 365. So whenever you're just going and signing up, you'll getting into a tenant, and the tenant have multiple subscription, like as per your demand, what are the services you wanted, and you're getting licenses. Best example for the software services, you're not buying any infrastructure, you're not deploying your Exchange server, you just go and configure, create the mailboxes, add those configuration, and those resources, manage your those applications and resources as a software. So you are not going and deploying anything, nothing else. So basically, those are the examples of your software as a services. Here is Windows Azure Services, which is the wide services which defined by the Microsoft. So if you can see in compute, in the compute you will having a Linux virtual machine, Windows virtual machine, and you have a web services, app services, function, batches services, and the cloud services. And the databases we are having a SQL databases, SQL data warehouse, and Cosmos DB, and PostgreSQL, MySQL, Data Factory, and now MongoDB is also comes into the database services. And the container services will have a Azure Container Services, Container Registry Services, Service Fabric, and the app services. If you just go and enterprise integrations, you will have in the logic apps, the service buses, which is the developers are using for the messaging purpose when they wanted to run some query, and then you will have a API management gateway where you wanted to integrate your API management with the web services. You have a store simple, it's just the part of storage, then SQL Server Stasis and Data Factory and stock services. Apart from that, you will be having other cloud services where you'll having Azure US and the Germany and Azure Stock. So basically, this is called as a cloud Azure private cloud services. So basically, which US government will be using, and the German government has a separate cloud services. And Azure Stack is now a part of also a private cloud where whenever you're raising request with those private cloud, the Microsoft is sending in some hardware to your on premises, and then the configuration everything will be take place in. And then if you comes with the networking, you will have a bunch of networking services which we have covered in our couple of previous sessions as well. And you'll have a networking overview, virtual network, and the load balancer. You having application gateway, the VPN gateway, Azure DNS, container delivery services, and traffic manager, express route, and the network watcher, which is the monitoring tool for the network services. And it will monitor the traffic, what the traffic is, where it is hitting the complete Azure networking services. The load balancer, which utilize your basically which is used for load balancing purpose. The application gateway, which has which will be that's also a load balancer, but to provide it more secure, and then the load balancing way, which is working on the layer 7. Apart from that, you will having a cognitive services, which is more, this is like how you just see in the Flipkart, Amazon, or something that you just make it as some images, or you wanted to integrate those services, or the text analytics, so that you're just typing something. Okay, let's say you're typing, you need in mobile, you just type in mobile, and then you send that right down there. A couple more other custom things would be coming. So basically, those are the things which be coming with from the those cognitive services with the web developer. They are using those services to integrate with that, and then that will work for you for the developers. Then apart from that, you'll have a storage account, and data lake store simples, and then you'll have a backup and the site recovery. And apart from that, you have a data lake, data plus analytics services, where you will have a SDN site, machine learning, and stream analytics, data
Lalit,
catalog. Yes,
sorry to interrupt. There is a question in the chat. I can answer in the chat,
please.
but probably if you can take it up. The question is from another Kanu, is what is load balancer uses? So just give 2 lines introduction about load balancer.
Sure. So basically, the Azure Load Balancer is used to load balance your applications. So let's say if you have a two VMs which is configured into the load balancer, so you need to configure the network in that. Based on, let's say the traffic is coming to the one web services, this after the one threshold that should be routed to the the different VMs where the IA services, or then that VMI services has been configured. So basically, it is just used to manage your traffic which is coming from outside
So
of your network, the
yeah,
applications.
yeah, not to confuse this with Azure Traffic Manager, there is another service which is mainly meant for distributing the traffic, but load balancer also, helps you to provide high availability. So you can have two VMs sitting behind a load balancer, and when your any application connects to these two servers, they will not utilize IP of these two servers, but rather than load balanced IP or the IP of the load balancer. So that if, let's say, your one server is down, the load balancer will automatically route the traffic to server 2. So it's a way to provide high availability, and it's used in combination with disaster recovery. So that's what it is, a load balancer.
Right.
All right.
So basically just use the public IP of the load balancer, which is the primary.
Yeah, so your load balancer could be a public load balancer or external load balancer or internal load balancer. So
Right.
if in case you want public IP, it will be external load balancer. If you don't need public IP, it's only meant for internal endpoints, then you will use, internal load balancer.
Thanks, Dinesh. Apart from that, you will have a developer tool which is comes in as a platform as a services. Like you have a Visual Studio team as a services, Azure Dev Test Lab, and the application side API management and Hockey apps. Where just through those services, developing some tools or some softwares, and deploying directly to the web services. And apart from that, which is comes with the IoT. IoT is again a platform where it's the Internet of the Things. The developer centers and Azure IoT Hub, Azure IoT Suites, and Events Hub, the notification hub, stream analytics, and machine learning and time series inside, which is will be using by the developer where they wanted to use for the continuous deployment or the migration of their tools from applications.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if you look at, the whole gamut of service, this gamut of service is, mainly categorized in compute, where you get the compute power for doing any compute processing. Then networking, that's where, you will use your networking component, like VPN or Azure DNS or Traffic Manager. Then you have storage, you want to store your data, so different components inside that. Then you have web and mobile. The developers would use that suite a lot, like Azure Web Apps and mobile app to host the mobile application. And for backend, for database, you have database services like Azure SQL database, data warehouse, and Cosmos DB. All these some of the database components that you have. And container is a new buzzword. Everybody is hearing about it, and it's popularized by Docker. So Microsoft also has container services offering. In addition to that, you have IoT, Internet of Things. You have AI and cognitive services, artificial intelligence and cognitive services that you can probably leverage those services. Those are more developer focused and developer oriented. And then Microsoft also offers you monitoring and management solution, OMS, or operational management suite, by which you can monitor your servers, applications, you can perform backup and automation, all those. And finally, you have security and identity. So security is of paramount importance when you move into the cloud. So these are some of the pillars of the Windows Azure services. All right, let's move on to the next one.
sure. And basically, the details view of those services, which is the compute services, which you have a virtual machine, the website, the cloud services, and the app services, the service fabric, and the containers, which is the services which is makes a simple to create and configure and manage your clusters or the virtual machines, which is configured to run in containerized applications. So basically, these are those services which is the one-liner details and the VMs which create and deploy and manage your virtual applications in the Windows Cloud platform, and the websites, which is a web apps as and software as a services or platform as a services, which you can integrate with your existing websites and migrate it. So basically, these are the basic things. Apart from that, you'll have a storage account, and the storage account, if you can see here into the IaaS and the storage, the disk would be coming. So basically the disk is a part of your storage account, and then that will be associated with the virtual machines. And apart from that, the files which is inside the disk, or as an storage account, you will be keeping those files into the file share server. That is also a part of storage. So basically, in the disk, you will having a premium disk, or the SSD which comes with the SSD, or the normal hard disk SSD which is comes with the standard storage account. So those are also would be there. And then if you can see in the PaaS platform, you will be having in objects, tables, and the queues. So basically, these are the storage services where web and mobile application, the microservices or serverless compute, you just going and creating in the Azure. So where those services are going and storing those services, and their data and everything would be going and going and storing into your storage services, into your storage account. Either it will be your data lake store, where you'll use for enterprise wide hyperscale, especially which used for the data analytics purpose. And the data would be grow more. And apart from that, you'll have a store simple, which integrate with the storage solutions, and you can manage your task between your if you have in Hyper-V, so you can put into the Hyper-V virtual array, and then running those services, and the similar data would be automatically would be transferred to your Azure. And apart from that, you have a backup services, where backup services or the site recovery would be the part of Azure, because it's a tool which take the backup, and it is going and storing to the storage account
So,
for the
Lalit,
backup. Yeah.
if you can differentiate, if you can give a idea, or differentiate between Azure Backup and Site Recovery, that would be great. What's the difference when would you use
Sure.
one over other?
Sure. So basically, the Azure backup is just used for take the backup of your VMs, your applications, and whatever the component of the SQL databases, or the component which is there resides in your Azure, as well as in your on-premises. In the on-premises, you'll have a files and folder level backup, and then you have a SQL databases backup. You'll have in your Exchange server backup, and the boot, and a couple more other backup which you can use as a backup. Like now in the on-premise, we are using the net backup or the Windows backup. Similarly, the backup services would work, but the site recovery is used to have it for BCTR, business to continue disaster recovery, and it is also used to migrate any workload
Okay. Okay.
which is resides in your on-premises, Azure on-premises, Hyper-V, and VMware. That will be you can migrate. Yes, please.
Yeah, got it. So basically, you're saying Azure Backup Service is for taking or protecting the VMs, taking the backup, whereas
Right.
Site Recovery is for business continuity, or for basically for disaster recovery. That's one use case. And then another one is if you want to migrate your VM from on-prem into Azure. So that's when you'll use the Azure Site Recovery.
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think there is one question from Chekalam, which is for the previous slide. When do we use cloud service and when do we use app service? So cloud service is an offering in old portal. So we have two, classic portal and a new portal. So classic is also called ASM. So if you had to build any web application, so you will use that in the cloud services available in ASM model, Azure Services Manager model. And the new portal, which is Azure Resource Manager, that's where you use the web app. And ASM is not available anymore. Microsoft has brought it down, if I'm not mistaken. November
Right.
was the last day.
So,
So you will not be able to use cloud services anymore.
right. So why I just would add it, because as of now the people is using the existing environment in ASM.
Okay.
Couple of the
So
organizations.
there is a
So just
question,
we
what is
added from
store
that.
simple? So Store Simple is a device, which you will have on-prem. It's a physical device. It could be a virtual device also. Store Simple, which can sit on-prem, and then it manages your replication, or the task replication between on-prem and into Azure storage. So basically, it will extend your Azure storage into your on-prem, and you will be able to use that. It's a virtual appliance, and Store Simple has physical appliance also. So, in case of virtual appliance, it runs on a VM sitting on-prem. In case of physical appliance, you can have a physical appliance from Microsoft.
Right.
All right, let's move on to the next
So
slide.
basically, yeah.
Sorry, you want to add something? Yeah, go ahead.
It's okay. So basically, it just provide in the virtual array, so which sits on your Hyper-V.
Yeah.
So basically, if you wanted to add in another layer of the hard disk, rather than putting that, you just add in a virtual array of the store simple. So the same data would be replicated automatically, which Neeraj has already explained very well. So these are the network services, which is heart of Azure. So why I say as a heart of Azure, because without the network, nothing will work. Just you can create your services and all, but how you can the communication will happen, like in a today's world without mobile, nothing is there. So the similarly without the networking services, nothing is happening. So the virtual network, and then you'll come with the network traffic and the load balancer and the express route, and you'll have Azure DNS. So basically you can host your own DNS into the Azure, which is a software as a services, and you can add your records into that. So basically just 2 minutes of click, and then you will be able to do that. And then continue CDN, which is content delivery and user rules. So basically it is if you are just it's a caching mechanism, which is uh, provide you a robust network for the global data centers. If you are there in the all over the world, so you can use those services. And then the VPN gateway, which establish the connection between your cross premises connectivity, in a sense, like from your on premises to Azure, and Azure to on premises, which is used for the VPN gateway. And that is again, it's in site to site or probably point to site. So it's been used for the traffic manager, which manage the traffics of your Azure Web Services based on the rules which you have configured, like the betas or the region wise, or the traffic which is higher, like hitting to 80% traffic should go to the A sites, and the 20% rest will go to the B sites. So it's the rule you're going in defining. So Neeraj, do you want to add something here?
No, I think we covered these pillars of services right into the first slide, where we talked about the entire Azure services. So network service is certainly very important one, and compute, you have network services as must, storage is must. With these three is the backbone, and then on top of that you have your web and mobile and a database and other. But certainly networking services is a key component. Without networking, you will not be able to use any of Azure services, in fact. So, some of the services which and which probably you would have heard about it. ExpressRoute provides your connectivity from on-prem into Azure. You can also use VPN to connect your on-prem and Azure. Without connectivity, you will not be able to access any resources. Nothing will work. So networking is certainly, is a foundation component, foundation service, which is needed, which is must, before you can consume any cloud resources, cloud services, be it Azure, be it AWS, be it Google Cloud. Networking is a key component. So you should put in effort to make sure that you have all your networking, architecture and design done upfront before you start consuming Azure.
Right. Thanks, Neeraj, for forwarding. And the main component of your security and identity services, the Azure Security Centers. So what does Azure Security Centers will provide you? Okay, why that is needed in Microsoft portal. So as this comes with your security and the identity services, that how you will know, or the where Microsoft is offering the services, how the customer will know the services are secure, what kind of the security you are providing. So even the security centers even provide you the, it has the advisory also, it will provide you the advice. Okay, it will just scan all your services, the data which you have,
So
so it will
is
scan
it,
everything.
yeah, is the
Yeah,
security service is basically providing, like, doing a scan of your infrastructure in Azure, and then coming up with a suggestion of security improvement?
right. So
Okay.
basically, which will help you to prevent and detect those threats. Like in your VMs, there is uh, Windows update is pending, the patching is pending, or your secure storage does not have encryption, or let's say you're not aware of your patch services, SQL databases has consumed more, and what are the risk would be there. So basically, it just basically covers the risk of your entire infrastructure. And then if you just come with the key vault basically nothing but it's just encryption mechanism of your in Azure subscription, which will provide you the encryption key, so which will provide you the encryption key, and then it's make sure that your resources would be encrypted. So if you wanted to migrate, or you wanted to encrypt your disk, then you need to create a key vault. So how the key vault would be work? So basically, if you are the Azure developer and then you have the URIs of key, it will connect to the key vault first, and then once the key would be matches.
So there's a
Yes,
question. Sorry, there's a question from Rohit. Does it protect from infrastructure for zero-day attack as well? So you need to understand, Security Center is not preventing anything. It's an advisory service. It only gives you advice that your encryption is not turned on. You have not enabled web application firewall. It will give you guidance and advices as what security loopholes are there. Then you have to take action. Once you take the action, then yes, you will be able to attack. You will be able to prevent those attacks. But you'll have to use solutions, security solutions to basically uh, fulfill those the guidelines provided by Security Center.
right. So basically, then comes with the key vault is the encryption mechanism. So if you have a developer here, it will use the keys over here, and then it will go and connect, and it meshes with the Azure key vault. If the keys matches, then it will allow you to log into the as a security administrator, and then only you will be able to access your resources. So basically, as encryption mechanism.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
in a Azure Key Vault is certainly a way. It provides you a way to safely and securely store your keys and secrets. So there are two kind of thing you can store in Azure Key Vault. One is key, that is cryptographic key, and another one is secret, which is username and password. So you can store this in Microsoft Azure Key Vault, and you can use it at the runtime. So you don't have to really hard code your connection string or username or password into your web.config file of your website. Usually that's where people will store it. You don't have to do that. That could also be a security risk. Uh, so instead of that, you can store those information in Azure Key Vault. So Azure Key Vault provides you a secure way to store your keys and secrets. And you can obviously, those keys are eventually, as Lalit pointed out, those keys are used to encrypt, to perform encryption. Sometimes you will use those cryptographic keys to perform encryption. If it is secret, you will use that secret to connect to a database or any other data source.
Right. And then apart from that, with the again the second heart of Azure is the authentication mechanism. which you will having in Azure Active Directory and then Azure B2C and the Active Directory domain services and the multi-factor authentication. So Azure Active Directory, it's provide you services, the software as a services where you'll have a multi-tenant cloud-based directory and you provide the authentication. So before you're signing into the subscription, it'll ask you the Microsoft account, which will enable the authentication of your servers. And then apart from that, the B2C would be used for your consumer facing activities, like some of your consumers, or like as a customer Lalit or Neeraj wanted to log into the Flipkart or Amazon, or let's say any other services. They are not going in creating my account how we are doing in the traditional way. We just go and log in. So basically it's a consumer services where just we are just going and logging in and automatically the account would be created. The similar way Microsoft has launched an Azure B2C, which is business to consumer. So the consumers can have their ID and the password so they can log into the portal. So the identity would be managed, and based on their rights or based on their permissions, they will be able to use those applications, and they will even walk around. So basically web and mobile applications as is used in Azure B2C. And then if it comes with Azure Active Directory domain services, it's a domain services which used for to join the domain, and you can enable the group policy and the LDAP and the Carousel and TLM authentications would be there. And basically it's just a software as a services, and recently Microsoft, I think it's in preview news, or it's in general availability.
No, it has gone GA. The Azure ADDS, it's a GA now. So you can use, and it's a managed Active Directory. Essentially, you don't need to build your own domain controller. Rather, Microsoft will operate and manage for you. I mean, we'll make sure of the infrastructure is up and running. You basically just manage and create your users. So it's a managed domain services offering.
Right.
There's a question about what's the difference between B2B and B2C. So B2B, business to business, and B2C is business to consumer. So if you're building an application where you will like your end user to sign up for your application, you can use Azure AD B2C, where a user will have self-service sign-up capability. Whereas you will use Azure AD B2B, that's a regular Azure AD that we use, that is by default is the B2B, where an organization is using it for its own use, not for its general customers or any other customer. So that's when you use it. Next question is Harish, can we join VMs to ADDS? Yes, you can join VMs to Azure ADDS. In fact, it is brought in for legacy applications which require Kerberos authentication, because Azure AD doesn't support Kerberos authentication. So yes, you can certainly join your VM into Azure ADDS. Why Azure ML services not available in portal? Well, Srinath, I'm not sure if that's a very good question, but I think I'll have to research and get back to you on that. That's something I'm not sure why it's not available. All right, let's move on to the next slide.
Sure. And basically this is the Azure government services, which called as an private cloud, where Microsoft will deliver a platform to build upon your functional principle of the security and the privacy and the control, which is nothing but the compliance and the transparency, which is nothing but is your on-premises data center. Microsoft will send their hardware, and which will go and connect to your Azure private cloud data centers.
Yeah, mainly if you look at the cloud services which is being offered by Microsoft, within the public cloud domain itself, there are three kind of cloud in public cloud. One is global cloud, which all of us use. It's Azure Global. Then the second one is Azure Gov Cloud. So Azure Government is what Lalit explained, that this is mainly meant for Azure government, not Azure government, sorry, for government, U.S. government. They're also building the similar cloud for other government of other countries. And the third one is called National Cloud, which is only available within that country. So some of the example of National Cloud is Azure Germany. So Germany has its own cloud maintained by local provider, but in conjunction with Microsoft. China is another example, which is National Cloud. So you have Global Azure, you have Azure Gov, and then you have National Cloud for Azure. So that's the three kind of services even within the public cloud offering of Microsoft. Then you have private clouds. In private cloud, if you have worked, like you have a Hyper-V, people have used Hyper-V, people have used SCVMM, System Center Configuration Manager, and System Center Virtual Machine Manager running on Hyper-V, managing Hyper-V. So that's the private cloud offering from Microsoft. And then finally, Microsoft also has Azure Stack. Azure Stack is a new concept which is delivering true hybrid cloud platform. So when today, in past, everybody talked about hybrid cloud. So you had Azure and then you had VMware on-prem, or you had AWS and then you have Hyper-V on-prem, and right, and we talk about it hybrid cloud, but that's not a truly hybrid cloud. A truly hybrid cloud is where the technology remains same irrespective whether I'm in public cloud or private cloud, right? So when I talked about hybrid cloud in past, Azure is a technology built around Azure Service Fabric and running on Microsoft technology. And then when you come to on-prem, you have VMware ASXi. These two technology are truly, they are not same. So it's not a truly hybrid cloud. Now with Azure Stack, things have changed. So with Azure Stack, Microsoft is delivering the same experience of Azure in your on-prem. So the Azure Stack runs the same Azure binaries, which is enabling and which is powering their Azure public cloud. Now the same binary is being delivered as a platform or as a server, like it's hyper-converged infrastructure and into your on-prem. So that's Azure Stack uniquely positions Microsoft as a vendor which provides you an unique experience of truly hybrid cloud.
Right, Neeraj. So let's move to the next slide and question demo. So
All right, so before we get into demo, what I'll do is I will unmute all the participants. So if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute and speak up. So if you have any questions. So any question if you have, you may unmute yourself and ask questions.
Hey. Yeah, hi. You able to hear me? Rohit this side?
Yeah, Rohit, I can hear you.
Okay, thanks. So my question is with regards to Azure Stack. You said Azure Stack is purely a hybrid cloud platform where Microsoft is delivering their flavor into your network. So just wanted to know, is it only the binaries which Microsoft is delivering, or are they also managing the hardware part of it? Like they have kind of a VSX chassis or something like that they are deploying on the data center and providing services.
Yeah, so Azure Stack is being delivered as a hyper-convergent HCI, and it's totally integrated. So Microsoft will take care of the binaries and the support and the update and the patch of running the Azure Stack. So Azure Stack has two components: software component and hardware component. So the software component will be taken care of by Microsoft totally, and they will manage, maintain the patch, make sure that whenever they release any update to Azure binaries, in public cloud, they'll also make sure that that's also delivered to Azure Stack. That's the software portion. Then that software has to run on a box, right? So it comes in scale unit, 4 scale unit, 8 scale unit, depending on what it is. And there are different vendors that Microsoft has partnered with: HP, Lenovo, Dell, Hawaii, and one more vendor. So I mean, their partner Cisco is also there.
Yep.
So you will get hardware support from those vendors. So you have hardware support from the respective hardware vendors, and then you have the software
Yep.
support from Microsoft. So it's totally integrated.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And you also talk about the national cloud.
Yes.
Like Germany have their own cloud. So is it something like they have released those versions just to meet the regulatory compliance for the countries? Like GDPR is a hot topic in Europe.
Yes.
So is it something the compliant with the regulatory compliance of the countries?
Yeah,
If we
that's
talk
right.
about Germany specifically.
Yeah, that's right. So like the national cloud is born out of necessity to comply with the local government rules and regulations. And Germany has a very strict privacy law. China, for example, has also very strict privacy law or a data, data privacy law. So that's because of those, in order to comply with those, Microsoft has to build this national cloud, and it will grow. So they're also
Yeah.
building a cloud in France. So it's also coming up.
Mhm.
France is also a national cloud because France also has those. So eventually, if you look at these different topics, like why Microsoft has Azure Global and Azure Gov. Again, government has stricter security requirement, right? And Microsoft
Correct.
has to fulfill those. So these different kind of clouds has born out of or have born out of the necessity to comply with the data privacy and the legal requirements.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Hi, Neeraj.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Can you talk about what are the stateless and stateful services?
Well, I think that will get more into the development portion. I think it's more on introduction, but we'll just quickly touch upon stateful and stateless. Right, so state is an application. Whenever you run an application will go through the different states, right? Or different, it maintains data and data types for each of the states. Now the stateless is stateful is where those states stays with the application, and if application crashes, you lose the data also. So that means storing those state information with the web server on the disk, same disk where web server is running. Whereas if you talk about the stateless, it doesn't maintain the state on its own database. So I can have multiple application consuming the same information, and I store that state information not locally but in a distributed database. For example, I can store it in DocumentDB, or I can store it in a Azure SQL, which if my application crashes, which is running on a web server or a VM, it doesn't matter. That same application can come up and access that state information, which is not stored locally on the disk, but stored in the database. So that's how it is stateless and stateful. And you must, in cloud world, you must design a solution which should be stateless and distributed to take advantage of cloud technology and cloud scale.
So IaaS services will come under stateless or stateful?
Well, the stateful and stateless, those are application related, application development concept.
Nice.
This is not,
So,
for infrastructure as a service or for the PaaS. Any application that you code or develop, that will be where it's a stateful and stateless.
Okay, got it.
yeah, so basically VMs never comes with the stateless and the stateful. The
I
stable
mean,
format.
if you look at
Only
from
the
that,
web applications.
yeah, if you look from,
Yes, yes.
I don't know, what are you trying to relate stateful and stateless with the infrastructure as a service or platform as a service? So, you can apply that concept as a definition, but usually we use stateless and stateful in terms of developing an application or coding an application.
Okay.
Stateful is also there in case
Okay,
of
so I
firewall.
would, Neeraj,
Go ahead.
Ashish this side. I just want to add few things here related to stateful and stateless. From the infrastructure point of view, yes. I mean, so far, if you relate it with VM and other workloads, which you normally, lift and shift to the cloud, they are not come into this particular concept. But if you if you go to the sorry, if you go to the other infrastructure which are coming into the picture now, like Docker, if you say Docker or containers. So if you talk about infrastructure about them, you will be dealing with the stateful and stateless containers. So yeah, it is a development perspective mostly. But then, I mean, when infrastructure people, go inside that particular part, like when they host container as a service, they are hosting applications in the container. They will be interacting with the stateful and stateless concept, as just like developers do. That's it.
Okay. Thanks, Ashish and Neeraj, and this is really a nice explanation of the services. And let's move down to the demo part. So basically, we are not going into the deep on the demo. Just wanted, as in the introductory classes. So we have a couple more other sessions where we'll just go and create those resources, and we will work on each and every services, and then show you the features of those services. So basically, whenever you just wanted, go and log into the subscription, always. You can use your portal.azure.com, and then you have to provide your either the organization ID, and then you need to provide your Outlook ID, which is associated with your subscription. And once you log into the portal, here you will be seeing your directory with the with your email ID, and once you click on the directory, you will be having a directory, and with the directory number and your domain, which I just configure, which is recently by is in azure4u.com, and then my email ID, and then view bill as well. So if you come with the settings here, if you wanted to, this look is not good, you wanted to change the look, always, you try and make the colorful with the Microsoft logo. And then if you wanted to, make something like white or black, those features, you can, always enable. So apart from that, the toast notification which you wanted to enable or disable, you can do that. Then if you wanted to allow a double click for any change themes, anything, so this thing. Apart from that, if you're bearing to country, or if you wanted to change the languages, you can always change the languages from here, and change the language format from here. And once if you've done something like this, you wanted to change, and always you can click on the restore settings, and then you can apply. So this is Azure. The second part is if you wanted to enable the PowerShell or the Cloud Shell, just you have to click on this button, and then your base. So here you will get either the base, the Linux base, or the PowerShell, which one you wanted to install. So if you wanted to go with the base, which is called as a shell script, and the PowerShell. So if you wanted to click on the PowerShell, it will ask you to create a storage account, because where your scripts and everything will go and work over here. So I'm just creating a storage account, and which will be mounted to my PowerShell scripts, and I can it store those commands which is there in the Azure. Apart from that, this is the notification tab, which see, now my PowerShell scripts has been it's initiated. So this is a notification tab where it will show your billing, and even though if you wanted to if you're going and creating any resources or like a storage account, the VMs or anything, which always will be getting over here. Then if you wanted to create a new resources, always you just click on new, and just minimize this. When I'm just going and creating any resources, click new. So let me guide through a marketplace. So basically, now everything is in marketplace. All the services like your compute, network, storage, everything would be in the marketplace. So if you wanted to deploy and server 2012 data center, or you want to deploy 2012 uh, compute services, if you just click on the compute services, then you will get all the compute services over here. The networking services, you'll get all the virtual network services over here. Either it could be your application gateway, DNS zones, and the Citrix app. Everything would be, which is related to the Cisco firewalls and F5 web solutions and all. The web applications plus mobile, it will just what are the, even including the vendor or the third party which is there into the marketplace, like WordPress or your Logic app, or you wanted to integrate something, the media services, everything would be over here. And the storage, which comes with the storage, you'll get all the storage related services over here. SoftSend and your backup and site recovery and storage. These are basically third party, even though the companies was they wanted to providing the support, the services to the Microsoft, and that will be managed by the third party vendor, which Microsoft has a integration with them. And then if you comes with the databases, you'll have all the databases related services, then database plus analytics. So basically you'll have a SQL Server plus analytics services like machine learning, and you have a Sitecore, everything over here, and then IoT, and then you'll have enterprise integrations. If you wanted to, the on-premises gateway, the BizTalk services, the Logic app, the applications which is there. So those are all the things you will be getting over here, and either you can customize search over here if you wanted to get any services. Let's say if I wanted to event track for the security center, I just wanted to enable for this, I'll just go and search over here, and then I'll create those services. So that can be done. Either you can custom search, or you'll have in security and identity services where your Azure AD part, all the Azure AD part would come, ADDS, your Key Vault is here, and Azure AD Cloud App Discovery would be here, then Barcode Firewall, everything would be here, which is related to your security and the authentication. And then you'll have developer tools. So all the developer tool like your Dev Test Lab, automation, hybrid work mode, Logic apps, and we'll have an automation which is a part of OMS, where you can download some templates and modify according to your, and then you're going into applying. And then we'll have a monitoring and management. In the monitoring and management, we have all the tools, which is these three would be recommended, and then you can see these are the security and compliance, automation and control. These are the part of OMS, which you can enable those tools, and that will go and install few agents into the VMs or the services, and they'll collect all the data and give you the suggestions for the security and the compliance prospects. The automation and control where deploy a script or a task which go and run automatically. The log analytics, and apart from a couple more application insight, and the Azure migration tool which is there and used for VMware migration. And then we have add-ons. Add-ons in the sense we'll have automation, the almost the same features, which is Azure certified, or the other services, team projects, and the Dev Test Lab, the Visual Studio automation. So kind of whatever the things, if you're not finding in the portal, go and search into the marketplace, and the container, and the last one would be your blockchain services would be here. So we'll get all those things. Apart from that, if you click on the more services here, if you deployed something, and let's say if you deployed something, and I just wanted to see how my virtual machines, so I'll just click over here. If you go in the more services, I don't have any services for now. Or if you wanted to, let's say I wanted to make my subscription to be, into the favorite. I'll click on the star and my subscription would be in the my favorite button. So basically this is the favorite button. I can add as many services as I wanted. I just go and, click on this. I don't want, I just remove it. So the similar way you can make your services or, use your services to the customize, and then apart from that you can how the people can create a case, the help and support cases, which you have some trouble or something like that, how you're going in, creating the case with the Microsoft based on the priority, based on your service plan. So always you can create a and plus help and support. So here through this portal you will be able to reach out to the Microsoft and raise your concern with the services. And then
Can I interrupt you, Lalit?
please.
Yeah. For help and support, is this the only? Yeah, I've tried this, and you basically will get a wizard to go through and problem analysis, upload the log files, etc. Is this the only method, or we can also call the support numbers for the Azure related problems?
So basically you'll have both the things. The support, you can call them only if you sign up with the premium as a customer, as a premium customer. For enterprise agreement, they are providing as a call support. For rest of the things, you have to go and raise the cases with the help and support.
Yeah. So with this option, help and support, can we also raise the priority 1 tickets as well?
Yes, you can raise the priority 1, and the support which you have signed up as a premium support, or it is the enterprise support, or it is normal support, or the development support. For development support, they'll provide you the support for 9 to 6 business hours, which the cost would be less. Or if you go the premium support or the enterprise support, there will be around 2,000, 3,000 rupees extra. Of enterprise, there's 10,000.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the cost, but yes, there will be a cost varies. Based on that, they'll provide you the things. So if you're going with the enterprise, you have always a cover as a premium, and you can always raise in priority a ticket.
Yeah, sure. Okay, can you quickly toggle to the shell because you tried to create earlier?
Sure, I'll do that. So basically, when you come in this, you'll be getting a couple more other things like new support request. And before that, I just, the planned maintenance, which is, recently Microsoft has added. Earlier, there is a services too. So how you can check your services, which is healthy or not. Always click on the services. You'll see all the regions over here. And as of now, we'll see all the, I have only selected the 6 regions out of 114. So you'll have, and you're seeing the green tabs. So which is, everything is good from the Microsoft data center. The planned maintenance is something where you will be able to, view the message. If there is any planned activity in your data center, you'll get an alert over here as well as in your mails. So basically in this you'll have a health advisory. So if something goes wrong, Microsoft, they can trigger and alert over here. The health history, how's the subscription, and the health history for selected subscription would be here. So let's just move down to the new support request. So basically you can create new support request. So here's the customized things. Basically, if you're facing any issues technically, you just go on technically. Suppose in your organization you're thinking you're just getting a 1 lakh rupees of bill, but suddenly it is 1.5 or 2 lakhs. Obviously you will be thinking, okay, how it will be charged, and then you go into the billing department. So once you click on the billing, it will route your request to the proper department if it is technical. So basically if it is technical, then it will ask you in which services you wanted to raise in technical. Microsoft has add almost all the services. Whenever you say okay, you have, even though now you can see the earlier the Azure stock is not there, now having support for Azure stock as well. The log analytics, monitor, microtune, cloud cell, cloud in, and then they have all the services related. What are the services? The network based on your services, you have all the supports over here, including the preview services, which I can see this is a migrate preview, the container instance preview. So this is also available. So you need to, you have a multiple subscription, or select the subscription from the drop down here and then go. If you wanted to increase the quota, suppose you have a limit for 200 services, but like say you can create only, let's say, quota course. I'll increase the course of the VMs. Let's say if I have a durability for course only for 30 VMs, or I can the CVRT I can create it from here. There's CVRT critical impact, moderated impact, and the minimal impact. So basically A, B, and C. If you create an A, you will get an contacted soon. So here the deployment model would be resource manager. Classic is going to out, so I'll just select in my region and which SKU you want it. I'll say E3S2. So it will show me like, okay, now you have 100 cores. Do you want to increase your limit? If I say okay, increase it to 500, it won't charge me money, but it will increase. Microsoft will allocate this, enables the function in the backend, so you can create till 500 cores, till that cores, the 500 plus 100 is 600 cores VMs. So and lastly, you need to provide you the information here. You can provide your information and then create the case. It's not required for me. So apart from that, you'll have a couple more other documents from here, so that you can do that. Then if it comes with the dashboard and you want it to edit the dashboard, you want it to customize the dashboard, you need to let's say I want my marketplace would be to be here. I'll just select the marketplace. I want my help and support to be selected here. So basically these are the services, and you can customize your dashboard. I'll just say, or you want it to use for a tagging. So basically which types of the tagging do you want, or all category you want. So basically you can make the dashboard based on your services which you really wanted, right? And apart from that, if you wanted to share your dashboard like for monitoring purpose or something, or you wanted to share and access control my dashboard to subscription, publish the dashboard to the resource group, which resource group you wanted to publish, and you want, suppose you make this dashboard for us and monitoring purpose, and you wanted to publish this dashboard only to the monitoring team. So here's the share option where manage your rights and everything, and you can still share this particular dashboard to your monitoring team. Apart from that, you'll have an full screen, so where you'll get a full screen of view, and then you can click on clone. So basically it's just create another subscription. Basically it will create another clone dashboard for you. Okay, I just done it. And if you wanted to delete this dashboard, you wanted to really a new dashboard, so you can do that. So basically all the services which is there, and all the services which is here, which is I just pin, or if I wanted to unpin, or I wanted to customize in place of pin, I wanted to customize, and just go to the dashboard and then enable the new services or new customizations. So that's it from my side, and this is an overview of overall portal. Okay, and then slowly we'll pick up one component and then start our beginner's journey.
Yeah, Lalit, last thing.
Yes.
You were explaining about the Cloud Shell. So it was creating a storage account for its users, right?
Mhm.
So is it once created, is that each individual, whenever he clicks on that, will it create a storage account? For example, if I
No.
have a 10-person as a contributor role in my company for this subscription, how's that? How they make use of this? Will it
So
create
basically, they
every
can
time and
just click over here. No, no, nothing. Once because it's a configuration which I didn't configure till yet in my subscription. Okay, if you're going and creating a new subscription, first time it will create those the storage account for sale because it has to store some data or the commands which it is recognized, right? So how it will restore. So for each and every user, it won't ask their storage account. Once it is configured, it will be configured. If I
So,
just go and delete that storage account, okay, then again it's a
Shanmuga,
new.
maybe I can answer that. So
Yeah,
in
please.
any time a
yeah,
user trying to, this PowerShell is in user context. Okay. So if you have 10 users, they log in and they all of them will log in with their ID, right? Not one ID. All will use 10 ID. So yes, every time you start, it will ask you for a storage account because this information is stored in the user's context. However, you don't have to create 10 storage account. You can create one storage account and give all these 10 users contributor permission into that storage account. And when they fire up this Cloud Shell, you have two options: either create a new storage account, which probably you may have missed because it was very fast, or you can choose an existing one. So if you have given contributor permission to all these 10 users, they can use existing storage account which you have configured specifically for Cloud Shell.
yeah, got it. So since this is not linked to any real data in the backend, so will that still be chargeable or something for the storage account?
Anything you store inside the storage account, it is chargeable, whether you store a script, you store a object, anything and everything. If Microsoft charges you per MB.
Yeah, you mean any of the commands or any something will be cached still it will be stored as part of that account. See.
No, so anything that you store in that, temporary object which will get created or script that you upload, any storage space in that storage account will be charged. But you will not get charged anything for creating this PowerShell instance which is running on Azure Container Services in the background. You don't get charges free of cost.
Yeah. So basically, I can issue all the commands like get that Azure RM,
Yeah,
writing, everything I can use.
most of the commands will work. You'll have to modify something because, for example, you don't have access to the local drive when you're running in Cloud Shell. Anyway, I think we are going more into Cloud Shell. This is not a session for Cloud Shell. We'll have that as a part of PowerShell sessions when we'll cover. But
Yeah. Done. Thank you. Yeah.
all right, so any closing questions? I know we are half an hour plus our allotted time, but any other questions that you guys have? And we'll have more sessions, for the beginners, and we'll continue this journey. So what we have decided is we are going to split our sessions. So every alternate week we will have beginner session, and then every next alternate week we'll have advanced session. So next week we'll have a session. We'll continue on the DevOps journey that we have started. So we have covered first session DevOps introduction. Now we'll cover the infrastructure as a code for Azure Resource Manager template. I will cover in the next session. So it's we'll continue there. So we have decided to split our sessions into two part. One part is for beginners and one part is for advanced. So we'll continue. So hopefully we'll have more sessions coming up and lined up. So hope to see all of you back again, and we'll talk again. And till then, if you have any questions, anything, please feel free to post those questions in our AzureTalk Telegram forum, and also make sure that all your friends and colleagues they know about this group, and they can also get benefited from this large AzureTalk community group, which has more than 2,000 members, and people are very helpful. So you can post anything and everything related to Azure.
So once again, thank you for joining our session today, and Lalit, thank you very much for taking our time and giving this presentation to the entire audience, and I really appreciate it. We'll have more sessions coming our way. So thank you once again, and talk to you all of you guys soon.
Yeah, thanks, Niyas.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.